theories, it's a pretty good one.
You want to hear my theory?
Go for it.
Okay, everyone knows that The Rock needs time off. Everyone knows that The Rock needs time off to do the Scorpion King.
Right.
Right? You have Rock win the belt.
Mm-hmm.
You have Kurt Angle come out.
Okay.
Break The Rock's ankle. Rock can't defend the belt. You put the belt up.
You have a tournament. It's been a while since they've had a tournament, too. So
yes, it has.
So that would not be a bad idea also. 457-1065. We're going to take a break. When we come back, your phone calls as we continue to talk about the World Wrestling Federation on the eve of about to wait a minute.
Shh, wait. It's the pulse of WCW.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, wait, no. I'm sorry. It's getting too strong.
You're listening to the Wrestling Guys.
On Buckeye Country 106.5.
Wrestling Guys at Buckeye Country 106.5. I'm Shawn Stidham along with Willie F. taking your phone calls at 457-1065 talking about the WWF and WCW. Looks like the World Wrestling Federation will assume ownership of the company. What do you think will happen?
That is just scary.
You know, one thing I thought of during the break is we were talking about Goldberg maybe going into the WWF, and before that we mentioned guys that may have trouble finding work in the company. Mm-hmm. That's another guy that could also, given his history with Triple H.
Sure,
for those of you
absolutely.
that don't know, last year at a, I think it was a toy show in New York, Goldberg and Triple H had some serious words with one another, and Goldberg really had to be restrained, and he wasn't provoked.
No.
That was a scary thing. Triple H apparently had made some comment about Goldberg in an interview, and Goldberg saw him for the first time since then, and really started cursing at him and everything else, and Triple H played it very well, just smirked and kind of went on with his business. And, Triple H, from what we understand, is very close to Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Well, he is his son-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, don't break that contract.
Yeah, can't break that. But, so Goldberg, the thing is, right now, the WWF doesn't need any of those guys.
No, they
That's
don't.
the thing. So, going back to what you said about, setting the salary structure, these guys, so assuming that some of these guys, from what we understand, have clauses in their contract that if WCW was to be sold, that they would become free agents, so they could renegotiate their contract if they want to. How smart would that be? I mean, if you're a guy who's pulling down $1 million, $2 million a year, and the company gets sold, and you go up to Vince and say, "Hey, Vince, no, renegotiate my contract. I want more money."
Yeah.
There's nobody on WCW's roster that Vince McMahon would do that for. Absolutely not.
Nobody.
Because he's proven he doesn't need them, and we'll see what happens. 457.
I don't know what was it? 4.6 rating.
4.6 rating.
He may need somebody.
Yeah, he could. Let's go ahead and get back to the phone lines, and let's go to line 3 and talk to the Undertaker guy. Welcome to the Wrestling Guys.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
Good.
I got 2 you forgot on the Battle Royal.
2 ideas for the gimmick Battle Royal. Go ahead.
Red Rooster.
Okay.
And Leaping Lanny Pavo.
Leaping Lanny Papa. Papa would probably do it. Terry Taylor's another
but they would have to do the Genius.
The Genius, Lanny Papa, probably a better gimmick for him. As far as Terry Taylor and the Red Rooster goes, Terry Taylor's another guy that really had, I don't know if he really had problems with the WWF when he left, but certainly they came to a crossroads where they could not continue to work together.
And I don't think you'd ever see Terry Taylor do the Red Rooster again. I don't care how much money you're paying him.
But what's his option? Willie,
but that killed. Well, you're right, but that killed him.
What's Terry Taylor going to do? Terry Taylor's, 45 years old, 46 years old?
Yeah.
He's really not in a position in his life that he can switch careers. No. I don't think he wants to go on the indie circuit that much.
No, I would say not.
Who else is he going to work for?
I got another one you forgot.
What's that?
Bo and Blake Beverly.
The Beverly Brothers.
Beverly Brothers.
That's actually a pretty decent tag team.
Yeah, and I got a question. Okay, say if Vince does buy WCW and he tries to run it separate, where would he get TV time at to run the company separate?
See, that's a good point, too.
Yeah, but you got to remember one thing. The problem Viacom had prior to this was that Turner was going to keep WCW programming. Mm-hmm. And so Viacom was afraid that, hey, that's a conflict of interest because we're trying to compete against them. Now, since Turner said we don't want to carry pro wrestling at all, you have a situation where Vince has the TNN, he has MTV, there's a ton of options.
You can put it on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and you run Raw on Monday, you run this on WCW on Tuesday and Wednesday, you run SmackDown on Thursday. Jeez.
The one idea that was also batted around earlier is that you look at Livewire and Superstars; those could easily become WCW programs.
Yeah, most definitely.
So he has a ton of options. The thing that Vince McMahon has, that Jerry Jarrett, that Fuse at Media Ventures, that Eric Bischoff, none of those guys have. Vince already has a national TV contract.
Yeah, but the problem I see with all this, the guys that stayed with Vince when things were bad, wouldn't you be kind of peed off if he would start spending more time in WCW and trying to make it bigger than the guys that stayed there?
I don't know. I mean, that's one thing we were talking about earlier. Do you think that Vince McMahon would have a WWF versus WCW feud where conceivably WCW would maybe win? I don't see it happening. No, I don't think he would ever allow that.
I don't think The Rock would let it happen. I'll be honest. I think that man's ego's so big.
It's not up to The Rock.
No.
I mean, Rock is...
Vince has the final word.
Rock is very easily one of the top 3 names in this sport right now, but whatever Vince says, The Rock will do.
Yes.
Okay,
so
that's about it.
All right, thanks a lot for the phone call. Let's go, what's that, Julia, line 4?
Hey, can I do something real quick, though?
Sure.
I mean, because it just brought it, since it was the Undertaker guy, I was going to ask him this, too, but now he's... But, I mean, don't you like the Undertaker a lot more when he doesn't talk?
Yes.
I mean, I thought everything...
I feel that way about a lot of people, actually. Nobody in this room. I'm just saying,
I actually liked what he did on Raw, and I thought the whole thing was sending Kane, off, against Stephanie, so I thought that stuff was all done well. But every time they should just call the guy the Underhick now. I'm serious.
Somebody brought up that this past Monday when Kane was holding Stephanie above his head, like from on the second floor. Shane would have taken that bump.
Oh, Shane would have taken that bump.
Shane would have probably asked to take that bump. That's how sick he is. Let's go to line 4 in Dayton and talk to Shawn. Nice name. Welcome to the Wrestling Guys.
Hey, guys. What's happening?
What's up?
All right, Willie.
Yeah.
Where do you get that mind from, man? It's got to be kinetic. Are you stealing my brainwaves?
As far as what?
Every storyline, your little angle storyline, perfect ending. But the WCW thing now, I think it leads to a whole multitude of different storylines.
Such as?
If they do it that early. I just think that, who's going to run it? Who's going to run WCW?
Well, going back to 4 or 5 months ago when the negotiations first took place, there was some talk that Jim Ross would actually move over and operate WCW.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that would still happen or not. As a storyline, and Julia brought this up off the air, which is where she's the best. I'm kidding, Julia. Anyway, but Julia brought up that Linda McMahon could assume WCW.
Sure.
Because we were certainly going to see with,
Right.
Is there anybody that doesn't think Linda's not going to get out of that wheelchair?
Yeah, WrestleMania.
What about
Linda
Jerry
woke up.
King?
I'm sorry?
Where's the King?
Jerry Lawler is a guy who screwed himself.
You can see Jerry Lawler on Power Pro Wrestling on
I saw that.
Channel 51.
If you go to kinglawler.com, they have webcasts and everything else there.
Yeah.
That's going to be probably the only place you're going to see Jerry Lawler anytime soon.
And one last thing, I wanted to know, didn't Linda say last year that she wanted to get an all-wrestling channel?
They talked about that.
Talked about that. Actually, they signed a deal today with the company. It's like Sanaki Incorporated or something, and this company will handle all of the archives of WWF, going back the last 30, 40 years. All of the home videos and television and all that. They are going to be responsible for that. Whether or not they're going to turn that into an all-wrestling channel, I don't know. There was talk that the WWF was going to put on an all-wrestling network, but it was going to be via the Internet.
Right.
One more thing. Are they running Heat a second time on Sunday? My DirecTV says it is, and it doesn't.
Yeah. No, at 11 o'clock. Yeah, it's back on 11 o'clock. Yeah.
11 o'clock. All right, buddy.
See you later. Thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate that. Dave Scherer in today's Daily Lariat, which you can read at OneWrestling.com, had a great idea of maybe making that 11 o'clock Heat a pay-per-view recap. He thought that would be a great idea.
Well, sort of like what they, when they did with WrestleMania last year, how they went to midnight. Actually, they're going to midnight again this year. Did you notice that, by the way?
Yeah.
Yes, they're going to midnight again. Yeah. Sorry, I know. I have to be up early, too. Doing that, making that, just a recap show. But then again, it's like, well, why would you buy the pay-per-view?
People are still going to buy the pay-per-view. But one of the things I thought the WWF always did well is after a pay-per-view, whenever they had, what was it? Was it QVC or the Home Shopping Network or whatever?
Yeah, that's right.
They would have those shows.
They'd have the little interview segments.
They had a post-game show.
Yeah.
And, they would go live back to the arena, and they would interview Austin after his match, and they would interview The Rock, and it was a very, very well-done pieces. And so I would love to see something like that.
It was, except for, like, okay. It's like, all right, now we're back in the studio, and we have the Rock plush bear. Get your Rock plush bear. And I'm like, ooh, boy, that just screams of machismo from The
was
Rock.
Just like comatose, and as soon as you said, get a Rock plush bear.
The Rock plush bear. Do you have a Rock plush bear?
Not yet.
From QVC?
Yeah, make sure you
Not
get
yet.
a...
I'll probably get
No,
one.
they're rolling
Should,
meat.
yes. 457-1065 is the phone number. Let's go to line 5 and talk to Tim. You're on the Wrestling Guys.
Well, hey, I got a question. You guys think the Warrior is going to come back in that match?
No.
Hell no.
No.
No?
There is a list of guys that will not appear anytime soon in the WWF. Jerry Lawler.
Jerry Lawler, yeah.
I'm trying... Nails. Nails is not going to be there anytime
Nails
soon.
won't be there, that's right.
And the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Warrior is not going to be there.
Okay.
All right?
And Bret Hart. Don't forget Bret Hart.
Well, if Bret Hart went to Vince, honestly, I think if Bret ever went to the WWF, went to Vince and say, you know what, I want to do some work with you, I think Vince would let him. Because it would be a stroke for Vince.
I don't think Bret would ever do that.
I don't think he would either. So I just don't think the hatred goes both ways in that situation.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Line 6 in Dayton. Is that Taz? Taz, you're on the Wrestling Guys.
Yeah, you guys are talking about the possibility of WWF taking over WCW.
Yeah.
What if Vince's son runs WCW while he runs WWF?
That's possible, too. I don't know if Shane's got that creative storytelling mind. I think that Shane is a very good business person, but I don't think Shane has even come out and said that he really understands, pro wrestling all that well.
As far as the kids are concerned,
Right.
Shane has been very influential in getting all of the different internet businesses.
Absolutely.
All the marketing. He's done that. Stephanie is really on the booking team. Stephanie handles some of the storylines. So she has more flair for storylines than Shane does. And probably as a storyline idea, maybe Shane runs WCW, maybe Linda does, maybe Vince gives it to Stephanie. Who knows? Wouldn't it be great though if it doesn't change? In other words, I want to see the quality of WCW change.
Yeah,
so you just go business as usual.
Right.
I think that would be great. And then maybe 2 or 3 years down the road, once you establish WCW more as a separate entity, but yet equal with the World Wrestling Federation, then have your crossover pay-per-view. Yeah. 457-1065 is the phone number. Let's take one more call before we go to the break. No, Julia says no. We have to go to a break in 45 seconds. We're not enough time for a call. Whatever Julia says, we have to do. We'll mention this real quick. Coming up Friday, March 30th, the superstars of the UPWA will be at the Gratis City Building. That's the old high school gym. This is going to be a free show, and they gave us tickets to give away. Now, I don't know how we give away tickets to a free show.
These are special tickets.
No, they're not. They're not like,
They're numbered and stuff.
They're numbered, but I don't think... You don't need these tickets. I mean, we'll if you want to pick them up from us, it's fine. But you can go to Gratis and get them for free.
Yeah, but what if there's no tickets left?
Then maybe that's a problem. I don't know.
See,
anyway,
that's why they should get the free tickets.
On the card includes a Suicide Solution taking on the Po Boys in a weapons legal no disqualification death match. Isn't that a standard Suicide Solution Po Boys match?
I was going to say, wait a minute. I thought
every match is theirs.
Yeah, just put that on there.
Maybe they ought to do like a strict wrestling match, No weapons.
No, they need to do the.
If you want like an awkward stipulation, but anyway. High Style Billy Niles, the champion, takes on the future Logan King. Also, the Cart Wrongs are taking on the Convicts, plus 3 more great matches. And as it says right here, don't miss it.
Don't miss it.
That's going to be, of course, March 30th, 7:30 bell time at the Gratis City Building. And over the course of the night, if you want a pair of tickets, let Julia know, and she'll set aside a pair of tickets for you. But admission is free. It's a free show. So,
like I said, I think that building only seats like maybe 200, 300 tops.
Is that it?
I think so, yeah.
A rumor is you're going to be there.
There's
a rumor.
I've read that rumor.
I read it on the internet. It must be true.
That's true.
You're listening to the Wrestling Guys
on Buckeye Country 106.5.
Welcome back to the Wrestling Guys at Buckeye Country 106.5. I'm Shawn Stidham, Willie F., Julia here, all in the building. And this story just coming across OneWrestling.com, and apparently some problems up in Canton, Ohio this past weekend at the Memorial Civic Center involving the Road Dogg, who was a no-show. Now, an article in the Canton Repository? I don't know how to pronounce this. Julia, how do you pronounce this word here? Help me out. This is pretty sad. I'm asking Julia how to...
Repository?
Thank you very much, the repository. I'm asking Julia tips on how to pronounce something.
I'm a radio professional.
Yes, you are. Anyway, this is the second time in 2 years that a big-name wrestler failed to appear for a booking at a Civic Center show, Bob Pat, the director of the building, is considering not allowing future wrestling shows there at all because of the 2 no-shows. Now, Pat tells the newspaper that the Road Dogg was booked in Kentucky the previous night, but had canceled the promoter there and canceled claiming an injury. Brian Knobs was brought in as a last-minute replacement this past weekend, but Bob Pat said, that's a big drop in quality, which is right.
The injury. I know what the injury was. By the way, his bong broke.
God. Bob Pat said since there is no way he can verify Road Dogg's injury, he was having second thoughts about allowing a wrestling show there again. The show this past Sunday, drew less than 1,000 with significant paper. So the show wasn't doing well anyway.
No.
For a Road Dogg. The first no-show happened back in January of 2000. The wrestler who no-showed was not identified in the article, but apparently Bob Pat was able to confirm that wrestler was unable to fly in due to a snowstorm in Washington, D.C. And since the promoter of the show, and I like this name, Joe Zappa.
Yeah, I love Zappa.
He promoted successful shows before he gave the green light for this one. Zappa offered a free ticket to customers after the January 2000 no-show, but did not do so this time. So some problems up in Canton, and I'm not sure if the Road Dogg was actually hurt or not, but we know here Road Dogg has a history of no-showing.
Yes, he does.
The Road Dogg was scheduled to do autograph appearance at Classic Cars and Collectibles in Springboro.
Injured.
With Marty.
Got injured. No, actually he got...
That was personal problems.
That's right. He got fired. He was fired for a little bit.
Well, yeah, that was personal problem. And also the Road Dogg was a no-show at Pillman.
That's right.
We were walking around.
Personal problem.
Now, I remember we got there. What time we had the bus trip down, you and I. And
well, we first got there around, like, noon.
Right. But when we got back from the bus trip, like 5:30 or so.
About 5:30, yeah.
I remember, Les coming by and saying, "Have you guys seen, where's Rhodey? Where's Rhodey?" Yeah. Nobody knew where he was. He was a complete no-show, absolutely AWOL. So.
But wasn't he there? Wasn't he, like, in Cincinnati somewhere?
I don't know. I never found out exactly where he was, but Road Dogg having some problems, and if he doesn't watch out, he's going to get into the same problem that Sabu's in right now, because Sabu is not very well respected on the independent side.
Well, if he doesn't watch out, he's going to get in the same problem that Robert Downey Jr. is getting into.
Now, what problem would that be?
Well, he's
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I know the problem.
You know what problem that is.
Yeah. I know what problem
he's on Ally McBeal.
Sabu, 2 or 3 weeks ago, was actually triple booked. And he actually, normally when you book a guy like this, when you book a name wrestler, you send them in advance.
Right.
Let's say the guy's going to get $2,000, you send him like $500.
Right.
And Sabu kept all the advance money.
Yeah.
Cashed the checks, and he's not giving any refunds back.
No.
And so people are being very wary about booking him for any independent shows because you can't trust the guy. So.
All you got to do is look for an RV.
Yeah, that's true.
It might be Sabu.
He's walking around
with his dog.
Little Chihuahua thing. 457-1065. Let's go to line 8 and talk to Jen and Salino. You're on the Wrestling Guys.
Yeah, hi. I have a question for you guys. If WWF buys WCW, are they going to bring Sting back, and where's he been?
Who knows? Who knows if Sting has been? He was injured.
Well, you see, the idea that Eric Bischoff had was to bring all these guys back with the new WCW.
Right.
And now that that's not going to happen, and that really has ended up shooting WCW in the foot because you went week after week after week with no Sting, with no Kevin Nash, with no Goldberg, with no Hulk Hogan. Yeah. All your, quote-unquote brand names are sitting on the shelves because we all thought this deal was going to happen. Now it's not, and it's like, well, what did you gain out of it? Nothing.
And really, their name value has dropped tremendously.
I was doodling around earlier about people that, who could easily go to work in the WWF and couldn't. Sting's a guy, I don't know if he would be that marketable. He's 40 years old, has a history of injury problems, has had some questionable attitude as far as his work ethic lately.
Likes to tell on other wrestlers.
Yeah, that's not a popular thing.
That's not a very popular thing.
So, Jen, anything else?
Yeah. What about Kevin Nash? Are they going to bring him back?
I think they would.
Yeah, Kevin Nash and Vince McMahon left on very good terms. Kevin Nash left the company on very good terms. And as recently, I know as about maybe a year and a half ago, they did have a meeting, whether it was just, over dinner or whatever, just, to, shoot the bull. But those two guys get along. I think Kevin Nash would have a role in the World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah, I do too.
Anything else, Jen?
Nope, that's it.
Hey, thanks for the call. Appreciate that. 457-1065, the phone number if you want to replace her. It's the Wrestling Guys on Buckeye Country 106.5.
You can't replace any of our callers.
Well, no, but I mean, take the spot.
Take
on
their
the line.
spot. Yeah.
Take the spot.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't want you to, I didn't
Arn
want
Anderson,
anyone.
hopefully, will find work. I think most of the guys, I honestly think that WCW will be run as a separate entity. I think that probably most of the guys will remain.
I hope so.
I think most of the guys will keep a job.
Yeah.
I think Arn Anderson's going to be okay. I would imagine Jimmy Hart and some of those guys will be okay. I hope, for their sake.
Maybe this is the Gobbledygooker's big return. They can bring him back full time.
Gobbledygooker will be full time. Gobbledygooker, as we all know, would equal ratings.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Let's go to who is at line 7 and talk to Eric. You're on the Wrestling Guys.
Yeah, I got a couple of ideas for the gimmick match.
Sure.
Okay.
What about Isaac Yankem or the Giant Gonzalez?
Wouldn't Isaac Yankem be hilarious?
Yanker would be absolutely hilarious. That's a good one.
That would be funny. What about Fake Diesel? Fake Diesel, Fake Razor Ramon.
Yeah, that would be funny too.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that. As far as Giant Gonzalez, last I heard, he has some health problems. He's living down, wherever he is from, Argentina or whatever. And from what I understood, he had some health problems, and I don't know how able he would be to come in and work.
An Isaac Yankem thing too. I was like 2 beers away from going up to Kane, and because he was shooting pool in the bar. And I knew who it was.
Right.
I was like 2 beers away from going up and going, man, aren't you Isaac Yankem? Man, what are you doing, man? I've missed you. That whole dentist thing, man, that was awesome. What are you doing down here?
You would have been put through the table.
Yes, I would.
And then Willie would have come to the show in a full body cast.
You're probably absolutely right.
By the way, great time this past Friday at the Grand Victoria Casino. HWA and OVW teaming up for a show featuring Kane, and Jim Cornette made an appearance on the card. And
they announced the next one.
The next show at the Grand Victoria Casino, the date is not announced yet.
No.
But the main event will be the new HWA champion, Ray Steele.
Who was turned on Shark Boy.
Yes, turned on Shark Boy, and now is being managed by GQ Masters III.
Yeah.
The GQ set some stipulations. Jim Cornette came out after they were attacking Shark Boy and said he wanted to bring a guy to challenge Race. And GQ says, that's fine, but I have my stipulations. He has to be under 6 foot.
Right.
Or I think under 5'9".
Under 6 foot.
Under 6
Under
foot.
6 foot.
Under 230 pounds.
Right.
And cannot be a member of the OVW.
That is correct. That is exactly what was said.
So Jim Cornette stood there for a minute and said, you know what? I've got a guy who's 5'9", 223 pounds, and not a member of the OVW. His name is?
The Crippler, Chris Benoit.
So Chris Benoit will be at the next Grand Vic show, and we'll pass along information for you on that as it becomes available. But thanks a lot to the guys for the hospitality down there this past Friday. Had a great time.
And isn't Leviathan a freak?
Leviathan.
That guy's scary. That guy's scary looking.
So is his manager. What's her name? Sin? She's pretty freaky too.
But Leviathan, his arms, just by standing up, I think he could scratch his knees. I'm serious. His arms are that long.
He could scratch his knees without bending.
scratch his knees without bending.
So they're like ape-like arms?
Yeah.
Yes.
The guy's huge. Another guy,
freak.
Friday, we've heard a lot about Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Who's the former NCAA wrestling champion who's now under a WWF developmental deal. That guy is huge.
Yes, he is.
I was not expecting somebody for him to be that big.
No,
I've seen Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle's big, but he's not, like a monster.
No, Brock Lesnar is a monster.
Yeah, so nice time down there.
How do you think those guys feel? Hey, you're sitting on developmental deals. All right.
Well, as far as Brock goes, no offense, he's probably going to become really, really good. He needs to develop a lot down there. He still needs a lot of work. So.
He does, most definitely.
457-1065. We got a couple of Andys. Let's go to line 1 first, up to Troy, and talk to Andy and Troy. You're on the Wrestling Guys.
Troy, Andy?
Andy, Troy? Andy got a little nervous. So let's go to Kettering and talk to that Andy. How are you?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
First off, I got to plug the website real quick.
Go ahead.
Penfalls.com.
Penfalls.com.
Make sure you go there for me.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Why? How much money do you get each time we go there? Do you get money?
You can do it for your own personal.
Wait, do you get money?
Wait, do you get money for that, though? You got a little banner up there and stuff?
You don't have, like, the ad cast or whatever, where you get, like, a nickel or a dime for every time somebody logs on?
I'm working on it.
Okay. All right.
I was just wondering, you guys have talked about the Fox thing with WCW and all that.
Yeah.
Don't you think Fox will be taking a lot on their plate because, they have NASCAR this year, they got the Super Bowl, they got hockey.
Well,
Talking about Fox Sports or FX is where it would go to, though.
Yeah, it wouldn't go on your Channel 45 or anything like that. Maybe a special here and there, but
I think FX has like 20th Century Fox movies and
the Tough Man
and Matlock.
Well, FX.
I think those are the two things that they have.
I love Matlock.
And I'm sure Matlock would love you.
Yes.
But FX doesn't have very high-rated programs. I think
No, they don't.
I think they get maybe a 0.9, a 1, maybe. WCW, you got to think off the bat would probably draw at least a 1.3, 1.5 starting out. Once people got to know where it's went to, back up into the 2.0. But Fox doesn't have any interest in it. I think part of the deal too with the WWF buying WCW is that whatever networks WCW is aired on will have to be a Viacom network. I don't think Viacom is going to let the WWF go to a competitor and run WCW programming. We got to get to a break.
You put it on the Weather Channel.
You could.
That'd be interesting.
Is that a Viacom station?
Yeah.
Is it?
Here's the weather. Oh, and it's a power slam. Well, it's like you got a cold front moving in from the north. Oh, it's a clothesline.
You're listening to the Wrestling Guys
on Buckeye Country 106.5.
This is a turn. Welcome back to the Wrestling Guys at Buckeye Country 106.5. We're talking about our favorite moments of Spike Dudley getting his ass kicked.
Yes.
whether Mike Awesome kicking it or Bam Bam Bigelow was a better ass kicking than Spike Dudley.
I think it was Mike Awesome through the table.
Bam Bam pressing him and throwing him into the crowd, though.
Yeah, I know. That was pretty cool.
That was cool, too. And the great thing about Spike Dudley this past Monday night, nobody knew.
No one.
They kept it very hush-hush. And because you called me, I think right after it happened, and go, did you see that? That was cool.
It was cool.
We were surprised.
But
I'm not just saying because we didn't know, nobody knew, but you internet, you talk to people, nobody knew it was happening.
One of the old school guys, gee, 3 guesses who, he basically said, well, he goes, well, I don't think that you need, to have Spike with the Dudleys. I mean, they're already over as it is. Why do you need to bring him into it? And basically I thought, well, you know what? I think they kind of already tried to do a Spike Dudley type character with Crash Holly. I think that's what they were going with him. And I hope that they haven't killed Spike's possible how should I say push by already doing that.
I don't think they did. And the problem with that type of thinking, which you said about why bring in Spike Dudley.
Yeah.
If you keep it the same, that's the same thing WCW did.
Yeah.
We're just going to stay the same. Every show's going to end with the NWO beating up on somebody, and we'll be fine. Well, over time, people get bored of that. You need to constantly change characters. You need to shake them up. And Spike Dudley coming with the Dudley Boys in Albany, New York, great ECW town.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got a great pop there, so it was a good thing to do. Julia?
Something else I thought was interesting. It's really small, but I really kind of liked what they did. When the Dudley Boys, they were waiting at the airport for Stone Cold. And the Dudley Boys, I had actually just watched bits and pieces of it, but the fact that someone had canceled their plane tickets and they were actually at the airport, as a story twist, I thought that was kind of really interesting. Then they had to go back and rush back in and get... Yeah, that's exactly what someone said to me was the fact that, that was a Heyman.
That's a Heyman.
I love that.
If you were a long-time watcher of ECW, you can watch WWF for the last couple of weeks, and okay, that's Paul.
That's a Heyman.
That's Paul.
That's a Heyman.
And, the WWF has been very, very interesting to watch the last couple of weeks. It's been very fun to watch Raw. The odd thing is, you look at the ratings, and the ratings continue to slide, which brings up another question. No matter what happens, as good as the WWF may be getting, as much better as they may be getting, are we simply about to enter into like a dark period, or just an absolute free fall where people say, you know what, wrestling was fun a year ago, but I'm moving on to something else. There's something else to get my attention.
The XFL.
Yeah, that's been great.
That's what they're moving on to.
But no, but seriously, is this going to be a good thing? Is Vince McMahon taking on more than he can chew?
Very possibly, but at the same time, I don't know. The Grand Vic show. That was like more. That was like a larger audience, the largest audience that they've had there so far.
About 700 people. Or something like that,
I know a lot of the independents around here are doing good business too. So I don't know.
Yeah, you got, OCW draws typically somewhere between 1 and 200 at their shows with John Bryant. They have a good following. BCW, of course, and Pickwood does very well.
Yeah.
The other shows that run up there in Springfield with Bull Miller and his group, they do well as also. By the way, speaking of OCW, their next show is coming up April the 7th back at the John Bryan Community Center. For details about that show, call OCW at 229-8189. Let's get back to the phone lines, 457-1065. And let's go to line.
It's actually Andy. We're going to see if we can
Andy
try to
called
get
back.
Oh, Andy from Troy.
Yeah.
He's back. How you doing?
All right.
What's up?
Yeah, I want to know if Goldberg's going to WWF.
Yeah, excuse me?
I want to know if Goldberg's going to WWF.
Well, he's going to be working for the WWF soon. As far as if he's actually going to be working in the WWF or if he's going to stay in WCW, that remains to be seen. We were talking about that earlier. Again, which guys, who would Vince bring over from WCW to the WWF? Would he bring Sting? Would he bring Goldberg? Would he bring Kevin Nash?
Here's my question, though. Why does he really need Goldberg? Because
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
Because
No.
Goldberg was Stone Cold Steve Austin in the W. You know what I mean? He was like that kind of character, and there's no reason to have two.
There's a
It
natural.
just seems so
there's a
silly.
natural attraction to a Goldberg versus Austin match
Absolutely.
There isn't
because
for
of that.
me.
For normal people, there are.
Yes.
No, but if you think about it, why they're way too much alike, it's boring. I would think it would almost be kind of like.
So many people thought Goldberg was such a ripoff of Austin. It's interesting to see those two go at each other. I mean, it's a very natural attraction for a match. But as we said earlier, Vince does not need anybody in WCW.
Nobody.
There might be people he would like to bring in to twist a storyline. Maybe he has an idea for a Diamond Dallas Page versus Benoit match or something along those lines. How about a Dean Malenko and Shane Douglas match? That'll be the best one. But, he may have some ideas along those lines, and we'll just have to wait and see. Again, 4 months ago, WWF came very close to buying WCW, and then the pressure got on with, people going to threaten monopoly lawsuits and all this other stuff. It's not done yet. Although I
don't know if you can you really threaten a monopoly lawsuit if no one else is wanting to buy it?
Well,
See, that's the thing.
I don't think you can.
No, not if somebody else wants to buy it, but let's say Jerry Jarrett tries to start a national promotion. Let's say he gets a TV deal. What's a pretty crappy national network that doesn't really do anything?
The Food Network.
The Food Network.
There you go.
Let's say Jerry Jarrett gets a deal with the Food Network. We got some chefs right now probably picked that
he gets all the guys from Magic Chef.
Yeah.
Or whatever. What's that really weird show
Iron
from
Chef.
Iron Chef? The Iron Chef.
But
Yeah.
let's say Jerry Jarrett works out. He gets a national deal with the Food Network.
Sure.
But he is not able to compete because Vince has all the wrestlers locked up. He has all these deals. He
doesn't have all the
But
wrestlers.
that's not going to happen. There's going to be wrestlers.
It's happening with Microsoft.
No, but wasn't that different in a way to the fact that there were other competitors? I mean,
no, the government said, Microsoft, you're too big, you have too much of a share, you need to break up into other companies, like 2 smaller companies or 3 smaller companies, whatever they decide.
Maybe that's why he's going to keep it a different company.
So,
he can do that.
Which he could. Vince can do whatever he wants.
I mean, let's look at something. I mean, you're talking about this, the same people. I mean, Viacom, who owns a little bit of the World Wrestling Federation, is owned by who? Who? Do you know?
Viacom is owned by CBS. And
no, Sumner Redstone.
Okay.
Guess what else Sumner Redstone owns?
What's that?
He owns National Amusements movie theaters, all the movie theaters in this area.
Right.
National Amusements. He also owns, Viacom also owns Paramount.
Yes.
Okay. So, and they also...
We talked about that before.
Yeah.
Their deal with Paramount Parks, which
Right.
we're probably going to see some guys in at Kings Island this year. I've heard that. I don't know if it's a done deal yet.
I think he also owns a big share of Blockbuster Video. All right, so I mean, there's monopolies like this all over the place, and actually, if Vince is hooking up with Sumner Redstone, I mean, that's the first guy that knows about monopolies and how to get around them.
there's ways to get around a monopoly.
Oh, sure,
and I'm sure
is.
there are loopholes that you can find. So I'm sure that's like the least of his worries if he's thinking about taking this endeavor.
But it was something that Vince was concerned about before, and that was one of the reasons he backed off. Now the price is lower for WCW without the Turner, deal. The price for WCW is much lower, and Vince feels like it's worth the risk. I can afford to pay off whoever I need to now and still own WCW. And the one thing Vince does by buying WCW, he prevents anybody else from being competition.
That's right.
And that's probably the number one reason he wants to do it. It's not... There's a little bit of saying, I want to be able to turn that company around, and it's a challenge for him.
I don't think there's any of that.
But more than anything else, he wants to prevent anybody else.
I really think that it's, Vince. I think the reason that Vince really wants to buy WCW is so he can just look down at Ted Turner and say, "Guess what, Ted? I won."
Who would have thought? who would have thought, and really, if you think about it, with Turner canceling wrestling, who would have thought that, I think Vince has already won, but who would have thought 4 years ago with the NWO and all the talk that, hey, maybe Vince is going to go out of business. Vince can't compete. You had the Billionaire Ted skit. I mean, here comes Ted. Okay, I want Kevin Nash. I want Scott Hall. Who else do you have over there? Let me take Sean Waltman. Okay, yeah, that's fine. And let me put my show on Monday nights, and let me be in the ratings by double. And, WWF, what was that one? You want to talk about bad gimmicks? What about that gimmick match they had with the Super Bowl, the football challenge, or whatever the hell that was? I'm trying to remember what the name of that was.
Was that the one that was in the empty stadium?
Yeah,
that one?
Something like that. Yeah, it was like a football challenge or whatever, and I'm trying to remember what they did. They were all wearing football gear and shoulder pads, and that was a glorious day in the history of the World Wrestling Federation. 457-1065. Is this Cam Collins that's on the line, I believe? Cam Collins?
Hey, how you guys doing?
You know what's funny? And this is a true story.
And this is hilarious.
This is a true story. Before we went on the air, we were talking, and somebody mentioned Cam's name.
Yeah.
And I said, isn't he dead? Because Cam Collins, you don't hear from anymore.
I'm on VH1's Where Are They Now?
Yeah, he keeps a very low profile now.
I'm already a Where Are They Now? Yeah, just keeping a low public profile.
That's right.
now.
Well, all the support payments and everything, I understand.
You don't know
what's up?
Why, do you owe people money?
You guys are killing me.
Thank you.
Actually, the reason I'm calling is I had a conversation with someone who shall remain unnamed today regarding the whole monopoly issues surrounding Vince McMahon and WCW purchase and all that. And it is in no way, shape, or form now or ever will be a monopoly unless the example Shawn gave with Jarrett starting up his own Fed. Even if Vince McMahon has all the wrestlers locked up under contract, if he goes out and says, okay, Jarrett, you can start a wrestling promotion, but you can't have a W in your name, you can't use a ring with, only 3 ropes on each side. If he starts making it impossible for Jarrett to actually proceed with that, that's where it becomes a monopoly. The whole big issue with the Microsoft situation that you're comparing it to, Microsoft actually stated, and I know this because I worked for a company where we were dictated by Microsoft law, was that if we sold a computer,
Cam?
And if that computer, if that computer had a hard drive on it and a CPU, then it had to have Microsoft Windows. That's an actual Microsoft licensing agreement, and that stifles all the other. No other operating system could get into our company, and that's what a lot of the problems of Microsoft is right now. In fact, that's the only problem. But Vince McMahon, I don't think, has any worries over monopoly, antitrust laws, or anything like that, especially since WCW and ECW pretty much imploded because of bad business decisions. I mean, let's face it, like Willie made the point, they did it to themselves.
Right,
and there's no enough to blame, so. But, yeah, that's the whole thing. I'm actually excited by it. I want to see it go down.
Now, do you want to see the cross-promotion? Do you want to see a WWF versus WCW pay-per-view?
I want to see Kevin Nash walk to the middle of the ring, embrace Vince McMahon, and say, I did my job, boss. Because you know what I'm talking about. Remember, the rumors that went around saying Hogan, Nash, Hall, they were sent to WCW to destroy it. 5 years later, I would love to see Nash come down and do that.
Could you imagine what the uproar would be if that was...
I mean, you could even say, Stephanie comes out and Vince says, hey, Daddy got his little girl present. Here's WCW. I really think the possibilities are endless, and if they do it right, it can be successful, and I'm actually looking forward to it.
Or what if Hogan comes down in the Kevin Nash row? Hulk Hogan walks down and hugs Vince.
Yeah, I mean, you could literally have a reverse NWO.
Yeah,
most definitely.
You really could. I hope that doesn't happen, because I think you have too many things where people would say, well, we saw that before.
Well, yeah, hell, they could actually be the NWO, and there's nothing anybody can do about it.
Right, exactly. I still, I'm still hoping that, Vince would run WCW separately for a year or two, get some new blood in there to run the storylines, to book the storylines, and then come back a year or so down the road, 2 years down the road, and then do the cross-promotional pay-per-view after WCW's been given some legs to stand on.
When your second tier of talent, like the WWF has, what's considered their second tier, guys like Taz, who are not getting the mainstream pushes, when that's your second tier of talent, you're sitting in a pretty good position anyway, and that would be perfect to mix in with the WCW guys and get it going again.
Most definitely.
I agree.
Hey, Cam, we got to get to a break. You want to stay on through the break?
Sure.
Okay, we are the Wrestling Guys. We'll come back more with Cam Collins. I'm Shawn Stidham. He's Willie F. We are the Wrestling Guys.
On Buckeye Country 106.5.
Back on the Wrestling Guys at Buckeye Country 106.5. Shawn Stidham. Willie F. looks a little perplexed by the music. What's wrong?
No, I was gonna say, like, you know, it's true, and then I thought, no.
It's true.
No. Well, I'm glad you did, because I was gonna say, how cliched is that to do now?
Cam Collins is on the line with us. And Cam, one of the other popular topics we've had tonight is the gimmick battle royal announcement by the World Wrestling Federation that at WrestleMania, some of the past gimmicks like the Gobbledygooker, like Brother Love, like Michael Hayes as a Freebird, those guys are going to be in the ring for a battle royal.
Now, how is Michael Hayes as a Freebird? Because that gimmick wasn't even invented in the WWF.
Did the gimmick ever really make it to the WWF?
No, I don't think it did.
One match. They had one match. They were brought in, they did a six-man tag on TV, and then something fell through and they left. But for one match, I remember the Freebirds were in. But any ideas of a gimmick that maybe they should include?
I think it was their waistlines that fell through.
I think they should bring back the Ringmaster.
Oh, there's another good one too.
The Ringmaster.
Yeah, the Ringmaster.
If you're going to bring in all those type of gimmicks and you're going to include Brother Love, bring back Slick. Reverend Slick. I mean, but you think back some of these to the early 90s and the late 80s, some of the goofier gimmicks the people have passed on, unfortunately.
What about the Machines? Of course, Andre's no longer with us, but the others are.
Exactly.
Techno Team 2000.
Right. I think you could populate the thing with all of Barry Darso's gimmicks. He'll come in and pull like the Jim Carrey, come in, beat up himself.
I think that's great.
You remember a few years back at the Rumble when Mick Foley came out as Mankind and came back out as Dude Love? It was something like that with Barry Darso, running out as Repo Man, gets eliminated, comes back, and he's smashed from Demolition. I think that would be a great idea.
Absolutely. I mean, would he get paid for 5 appearances?
Probably not. Probably not.
I think he'd be happy just knowing he's getting paid for one.
You know.
The invitation is paying up.
Yeah, you know George Animal Steel's probably going to be in this.
Oh
yeah.
George the Animal Steel, I wouldn't be surprised. If they're bringing back the Iron Sheik, which is something they pushed as legitimate, even Nikolai Volkov, then who's to say they're not going to bring back Jimmy Snuka, who tends to pop up at these type of events. So you may even see Mil Mascaras or somebody like that, who they typically will bring in for
Brooklyn Brawler.
Brooklyn Brawler, you know, is in it.
Oh,
he's definite.
He is the top.
He might win.
Well, if Pat Patterson is anything to say about it, then
he might win.
Pat Patterson's going to book that one.
Oh,
that'll be nice.
Yeah, Brooklyn Brawler always looks around and says, "Pat, this isn't the kind of push I was looking for."
At least not here, anyway. When we get back to the room, I want to see Outback Jack.
That would kill me if Outback Jack came on.
Outback Jack.
I wouldn't know if I should laugh, appreciate the moment, or shut the damn pay-per-view off.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't know how to act.
We were trying to think, maybe bring back Danny Davis as the referee.
You know what? This is what I don't understand too. It's like, don't they have enough guys that they could come up with other matches? I mean, how do some of the guys that aren't going to be booked on this pay-per-view just going, okay, I got bumped for that?
Well, the guys that aren't booked, they'll throw into the hardcore match like they've had before. They'll bring out 50 guys for the hardcore match.
With buying WCW, aren't you picking up enough bad gimmicks to throw in that?
Yeah.
The one thing which kind of does bother me about this Battle Royal, when you look at guys on there, like the Iron Sheik and like Nikolai Volkov, I understand it's a different era now, it's a different time, and we kind of laugh at those things, and gimmicks like that would be laughed at today. But back then, I mean, these were serious guys. And Sergeant Slaughter, people took that seriously, and so seeing those guys put together in a comical fashion, it kind of disturbs me a little bit.
When you think
I think it disturbs me knowing that one of them could just fall over dead in the ring.
When you think about just as recently as 1991, Sergeant Slaughter was receiving death threats.
Yeah.
Because he turned heel.
Because he turned, that's right.
And joined the quote-unquote Iraqi side, which Iron Sheik made that transition nicely from the Iranian to the Iraqi.
You know what? If you check out the latest edition of Raw magazine with The Rock on the cover, they have an interview in there with Sergeant Slaughter, and he talks about that entire time period. And one of the things they had to do which was kept pretty low key at the time, they had to move WrestleMania. It was originally going to be at the LA Coliseum, which would be like 50, 60, 70,000 people.
Right.
They had to move that to the LA Sports Arena because of death threats. Because they were getting threats that somebody would bomb the Coliseum, and because you have that outdoor venue, it would be almost impossible to provide adequate security at that time. And so that's why they had to move it to the, they lost like 60,000 seats by moving it to the LA Sports Arena.
I guess those people just didn't get it.
Yeah. What was it?
Think Marty Jannetty comes back as one of the Rockers?
I think you bring Marty Jannetty back as one of the Rockers, and you make Al Snow come out as Leif Cassidy.
Oh!
I think you throw a jock strap on
Should we call Al and ask him
head.
is it true you're coming back as Leif Cassidy for the gimmick match?
I say you throw a jock strap on Just Incredible's head, and Aldo Montoya makes his return.
Oh, my God.
It is amazing to see how many of these guys, like the Al Snows and the Just Incredibles, have gone on to legitimize themselves. And now, at the snap of a finger, Just Incredible could be back under a jock strap for one night only.
How many calls do you think the World Wrestling Federation is going to get tonight and tomorrow from guys that haven't worked in the company for 10, 15 years, saying, "Hey, you need me? Love to come in. $100, I'm in. Honky Tonk Man.
Honky Tonk Man's in there.
Honky Tonk Man, I would say Bob Backlund's going to be there.
Yeah.
Or at least, knocking on the door. He'll want to come in.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, you bring Greg Valentine back, people like that.
Bring back Rhythm and Blues.
Brutus BK.
Exactly, that's where I was going. Rhythm and Blues, get them in there.
What about Zeus?
Oh, Lord.
Tiny Lister comes back with Zeus. That'll be good. That'll drive up the buy rate.
Yeah, I agree with the one caller, though, who said Papa Shango. I would say put him in there.
I think that's a really good idea, actually.
And he can do the double D. That's a sad thing too. Some of these guys can just go right back to their horrible gimmicks that they started with, and they can be in this match and be a total mockery 1 minute, and then be completely over in the very next minute.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, but as we said earlier, I don't think Nails is going to have anything to do with this pay-per-view.
No, I don't
look
think
for
so.
him anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Who else could come in on this gimmick? There's got to be somebody out there that
I like the Skinner idea. I think Skinner would be a good fit.
I think Skinner needs to be in there.
It wouldn't surprise me to see somebody like King Kong Bundy come in. What about the midgets?
Well, I think which one's dead? Is it Skylar Lowe?
I think it's Skylar Lowe.
Skylar Lowe died.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So some of those guys, unfortunately, aren't around anymore.
Cyndi Lauper and David Wolf, Mr. T.
Oh, wouldn't Mr. T be great?
Hey, Mr. T's got that comeback going with those 1-800
he's busy with
collect.
those 1-800 collect commercials, so he may not be able to make it.
Yeah. So you got Mr. T that could come in there, and
wow,
the possibilities again are just endless.
Every bad gimmick ever created could possibly show up in one battle royal. They'll have to turn it into like a World War III type thing and put 3 rings up. 3 rings of bad gimmicks.
So, Fake Undertaker could be there?
Oh, yeah.
Fake Undertaker?
Get Brian Lee in there, make him the Fake Undertaker. Bring back the entire DOA crew.
So, Campbell... Oh, God. Savio Vega.
Well, wait, no.
The Truth Commission. The Truth Commission.
Yeah, Undertaker's
the
already
Truth
taking care of the
Commission.
DOA.
The oddities.
There you go.
See?
That's all we need. Another reason to bring back the Insane Clown Posse.
Oh, grand.
Hey, Cam, what is up with you? Where can people hear you now, or are you just kind of laying low? What's going on?
Honestly, right now...
I bought a pencil from him like 2 days ago.
I offered to shine his shoes, but
You
he was
did.
in a hurry.
Yeah, that's right.
Honestly, I'm laying low. A lot of things going on in my with my real professional life and personal life that really occupies most of my time right now. So I'll be laying low probably for a good while. Hotlines, I haven't done a hotline in I don't know how long, to be honest with you. The fans know, because at the last UCW show, everybody asked me, why the hell aren't you on the hotlines? And it's just something, to even do that last show took a great deal of time out of my schedule. Actually things had to be moved around, so it's been really busy for me personally. As you know, I don't talk to you guys all that much, not like we used to.
No.
Well, since we got caller ID and we can see who's calling, we just don't pick it up the phone.
Yeah, that's a two-way street there, pal.
Well, Cam, anytime...
I talk to Cam's answering machine a lot, actually.
You know what's funny? You call and you get the answering machine like 2 minutes later. Hey, did you call?
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't you just pick up the damn phone? Cam, you know the phone number anytime you want to call in. Love to talk to you, man.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Anytime. Cam the Man Collins, and we are going to go to a break. 457-1065, the phone number. We are the Wrestling Guys.
On Buckeye Country, 106.5.
218-16.
Back to the Wrestling Guys at Buckeye Country 106.5. Shawn Stidham and Willie F. Julia is here, taking your phone calls at 457-1065. And looking at this gimmick battle royal that's going to be at WrestleMania.
Johnny Diamond.
Johnny Polo.
Johnny Polo,
that would be good. That would be good. Had some calls off the air, and the Sultan.
That's a good one.
Sultan's a good one. Rikishi, who of course was the Sultan, may not be at WrestleMania. He had to get surgery. Was it busted eardrum?
Yes.
I think he suffered, and so he may not be at WrestleMania after all. Who else was on? Tatanka's on the list. I'm sure he's looking for work. Who else? Bastion Booger. Something we talked about earlier, we were going through websites and trying to find some people, and we found DanSpivey.com.
Dan Spivey.
And Dan Spivey is now kind of, a male model. And if you go there, he has pictures where kind of almost something you would see like in a Sunday morning ad, something you would see like out of a Target ad or something like that. Guy the sweater and the round glasses and all that.
Right.
But he still has an email address as Waylon Mercy at whatever.com. So that's a guy who maybe could come back for one match. I'm sure he wouldn't mind.
Hey, I know, off topic, and I totally forgot to talk about this. I got the new WWF catalog. Did you get that?
I got it, but I haven't looked at it yet.
You haven't looked at it yet?
No.
They still have the cat in there.
Well, that catalog was just put together. I mean, that was put together, what?
Like wearing other people. Yeah, like wearing other people's T-shirts.
That'll change.
In there.
And by the way,
and you can buy the Dudley's glasses now.
Really?
For like $12.
They have a Divas magazine out again.
Yes.
Swimsuit issue.
Yeah.
Very nice. See who's on the cover?
You can buy the...
You see who's on the cover?
No.
Lita.
Oh, really?
I'm getting that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Lita may be posing for Playboy sometimes.
She could be.
China's doing another one.
Yeah.
You know
China's going to get naked again.
China's going to be all naked.
I think China's going to go the route of Rena, like in about 6 months. Or Ego's just going to get so huge and just blow up.
She was wearing the nice little Playboy.
But
you know what? Rena's coming back.
Yeah,
when's that show John Tenta has?
It's real soon. It's her, Mark Marrow. Who else is on that?
Scott Hall. Now, the way this would work...
Lawler? Isn't Lawler
I think so. John Tenta, former Earthquake. There's a gimmick for you.
Yeah.
He can come back. The natural disaster. Typhoon, Earthquake. There you go.
Oh, man.
John Tenta is going to take on Scott Hall at an independent show down in Florida. And on the show, also, Mark Marrow making his first match back since he had the injury in WCW. And Rena Marrow in her first wrestling appearance since the whole lawsuit with the WWF got settled. She's going to be on that show. And also, apparently, Kevin Nash is going to be a surprise guest.
Yeah.
Surprise! How the hell, yeah. 2 weeks before the show. Yeah, Kevin's going to be there as a surprise.
Yeah, don't tell anybody.
But so they're going to have a nice...
See that part on the poster that says Kevin Nash? Don't look at it.
Shh. It's a surprise.
Ignore the man behind the curtain.
But it's going to be a nice little reunion of the Outsiders, so...
Great.
Yeah. And another thing we want to talk about, too, is this Monday being the season finale of WCW's Monday Nitro. Eric Bischoff made the invitation to any former WCW champion to come back, bring your boots. So who do you think you're going to see? There's a poll right now on OneWrestling.com of which former champions do you think you'll see?
And I just want to say now, Hulk Hogan, anyone that wants to come back, Hulk Hogan, and don't forget to, Hulk Hogan, bring your trunks, Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Exactly.
You got to think Goldberg's going to be there. You got to think Sting's going to be there. Diamond Dallas Page.
Yeah, all those guys. Everyone that got booted
maybe
off.
Sid Vicious. Sid Vicious might be.
David Arquette will be there.
Do you know? It wouldn't surprise me if they could get David Arquette.
I would not
surprise me.
Hey, he's got like the number 4 movie in the country right now. Why not bring him back?
Yeah, exactly.
Give him the belt again.
Yeah. There you go. Give him the belt again.
Wouldn't that be funny? Bring in Arquette, let him be the final WCW champion.
Oh,
that's a great season finale.
But I would not look next Monday night as far as former WCW champions coming back. I would not look for Chris Benoit.
You don't think so?
I don't think Benoit's going to be there. No.
I think Sid Vicious will be there?
Sid Vicious could be there.
Maybe hobbling down?
Yeah, I think Sid Vicious could come hobbling down. Randy Savage could be there.
He could be there.
He may show up. I'm sure Jeff Jarrett's going to be there.
I'm sure, yeah. Sure. Flair will be there.
Flair. Vader?
Vader?
Maybe not.
Maybe.
That's a maybe.
I don't think Ricky Steamboat will be there.
No.
You know?
I can't say.
Oh.
I can't say. Well, maybe I can't.
No, don't say it.
By the way, Ricky Steamboat's going to be on this program next week. So
That's right.
yeah, Ricky Steamboat, Harley Race, and Rob Van Dam.
Do we have enough time for that?
We'll find enough time.
Oh,
and
man.
I'm actually working on a fourth one, too.
Really?
Yes. Keeping the fingers crossed, but we could just do, like, all interviews.
And you know who I'm working on, too.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
He could
That
be
would be
in.
big.
No, he couldn't. Well, could
No.
he? No?
No.
No?
No, I
he
don't
couldn't
know.
be, he
No, I
couldn't
don't
be there
think
next
so.
Monday, yeah.
Maybe that's what he meant by, something was going to happen in 2 weeks.
We'll see.
Possibly.
Okay, people are going, what the hell are you talking about?
We know.
We know.
There's just some guests coming on that we can't talk about yet, but it's pretty big.
But next week, Harley Race, Rick Steamboat, and Rob Van Dam here on The Wrestling Guys. 457-1065, and let's go back to the phone lines, take some calls, and let's go to, I can't see the screen. Let's go to line...
Let's go to line 7.
Let's go to line 7.
And say hi to Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Hi,
How are
Tony.
you?
Not too bad. I just have a couple questions. You guys mentioned this show on March 18th at the First Star Center. Is that going to happen, or is there a date for tickets to go on sale, or what's the deal?
The show's going to be May 14th.
May 14th.
May 14th at the First Star Center. It's not officially announced yet.
Yeah, it's not up on the website, but...
Yeah, they're in Columbus the night before. They're in Louisville on Tuesday.
Yeah.
They are negotiating with the First Star Center now. It's probably a done deal. It's just not something they've announced yet. But, yeah, they're going to be in Cincinnati for Raw is War on that Monday.
Everyone we talk to in like the industry right now has said, yeah, they're going to be there.
I'll say this now. I've talked with the WWF. They've said they're going to be there.
Yeah, so I think they're probably going to be there.
Yeah, they're planning on being there.
Is there a ticket sale date yet, or
no? Nothing has been announced for
Because
it yet.
it hasn't been finalized yet.
Okay.
See, the deal is the WWF has run for so many years at the Cincinnati Gardens, and when that contract expired, they're now looking at the First Star Center because the First Star Center holds 6,000 more people. So they're trying to work out a long-term arrangement, which will probably happen here, I would assume, in the next week or so.
Which means that Cincinnati is going to probably be getting lots of television stuff.
Yes.
Because it's a nice building to run.
Yeah, it's a very nice building, very easy to run, convenient to the airport.
Yep.
So, right off, the arena's right off of 2 major interstates.
Yep.
So it's a great, great location.
Okay. My second one is Shane McMahon. I don't actually think he's going to turn back heel, to tell you the truth.
Really?
Really? Now, when you say never...
Not never, more like a year or so.
Okay, so for the next year, Shane's going to be a pretty nice guy.
Yeah, because he pushes better as a face than he does a heel. I mean, he's one of the only people, McMahon's, that can push as a face, besides Linda. And Linda does no talking at all, except for screwing her husband every once in a while.
Right.
See, I don't think Shane's going to turn for a while either, because I think that's an interesting little, storyline, and Shane's cute, so I don't think.
Actually, I'll have to admit, I really liked Shane's promo on Monday too. I thought that throwing the whole Costa stuff in there and everything else worked really well.
That's something else we haven't touched on. We'll touch on that.
Oh yeah, we need
to talk about that. That was interesting.
Yes, we will. Hey, appreciate the phone call. Thanks a lot. Let's go to line 4 and talk to, from Beaver Creek, the Brock. You're on the Wrestling Guys.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Not a lot.
As a matter of fact, just like 20 minutes ago, I called the hotline and heard about all this news and everything, and oh my gosh, Vince McMahon's got to be a freaking genius or something.
I talked to somebody yesterday who said that this is as close as anybody can get to being an actual god of something.
Oh,
For Vince McMahon to own WCW, he would be not a god, he would be literally the god of wrestling because he would control everything.
Yeah.
It's just amazing, but do you think that they might combine the two shows? I know they can all get it into 2 hours because there's, if you combine WCW and WWF, the superstars are just phenomenal. But I think one of the things that makes WWF so much better is the guys behind the mic capability. You got The Rock and Chris Jericho and all them. They're awesome behind the mic. But then you got DDP and Scott Steiner, who absolutely suck behind the mic.
You know what? I think it's actually a way, if it's done right, and like Shawn says, you keep it a separate entity, I think it's a way to get the mid-tier guys or lower-tier guys, still keep them within a national exposure, still let them hone their skills, but maybe on a program that's not as watched as widely as the WWF.
Yeah.
One thing I would not be surprised to see happen is one of the major complaints about WCW is the announcing, is Tony Schiavone.
Oh, yeah.
I would not be surprised if when that first Nitro or whatever it's going to be called comes on the air, if WCW is a separate entity, if Joey Styles is sitting in the announcer's chair.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
makes you kind of feel sorry for Jerry the King, doesn't it? Being an idiot and everything, think he's going to go to WCW.
Jerry's the one that quit.
Yeah.
So, you know, hopefully, I hope Stacy's worth it. It's his wife, I assume it is, but that's an awful big pill to swallow.
I've seen some pictures of her that kind of make her kind of a little worth it.
Yeah,
I
I saw a pay-per-view, which kind of...
Oh, yeah, she's a little worth it there.
Anything else, Brock?
Just a final thing is, if this does take place, do you think we'll see the match of a lifetime, the Goldberg versus Austin thing?
Yeah.
Very possible, yeah.
One way or another, I would say, you know, give yourself a 2-year window.
I would say next WrestleMania.
You think it would be a WrestleMania?
Yep.
We'll hold you to that.
If it happens. I'm still not convinced that it will happen.
Yeah.
All right, Brock, appreciate the phone call.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. One thing, I was talking with a friend of mine earlier today, and we were talking about WrestleMania. I said, if Austin wins this year at WrestleMania, I don't think you would see Goldberg-Austin next year at WrestleMania, at least not for the title. I think that the dominant theme of WrestleMania for next year would be The Rock being... Okay, anyway, I think the dominant theme of WrestleMania would be The Rock being cursed. Because this would be 3 years in a row that at the main event of WrestleMania, The Rock has lost, if he loses this year.
True.
So going into next year would be, well, can The Rock win the big one at WrestleMania?
That's why I think The Rock's going to win, and then Kurt Angle's going to take him out.
Well, what you're probably going to see, I don't think Rock's going to win. I think The Rock being next year going for the title in the cursed, I think that's a storyline in itself.
Sure.
What you could probably see is very similar to when you had the Ric Flair, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, Sid Justice. There's your gimmick. There's another one to bring back. Sid Justice. You bring back like a double main event where Austin and Goldberg could be a main event with no title on the line.
Right.
That has its own natural attraction.
Sure.
The Rock can go after the WWF title from whoever has the belt at the time, whether it be Kurt Angle or Triple H or whoever is the champion at the time. So that can be, you know, The Rock
Kevin
finally
Nash.
wins the big one. Kevin Nash. There's another one. So 457-1065. Yes, Julia.
What I found so funny, I was looking at a poll that had been taken on, I think, OneWrestling.com.
Yes.
And David Arquette got 5% of the vote as being someone who would show back up on Nitro as a champion, and I was laughing because, like, Diamond Dallas Page only got, like, 3, Sid Vicious only got 2, and David Arquette is